Not too long ago, just last year, in fact, the anti mandate movement was smeared by people on social, the MSN, and politicians as anti vax, even though many people had taken the vaccine, or at least every vaccine up until COVID. They were smeared as far right extremists, Nazis, and white supremacists, even though there was no such statements made, no evidence of the movement being extreme in any way, and many were not even white. The people smearing them would point to the few instances of Nazi flags or other symbols at demonstrations as evidence that all of the people in attendance were in danger, were a danger to civil society. But really, they didn't need any symbols or flags. They argued the ideology of these resistors was extreme. Now, what was their ideology? That they shouldn't be forced to inject a substance into their body in order to participate in society, keep their jobs, or continue to go to school. But that's not how it was portrayed by the media. Just look at these headlines. Here's one from the Daily Beast. White supremacists are going all in on anti-vaxxer rallies. Look at this piece put out by The Guardian. 5G and QAnon, how conspiracy theorists steered Canada's anti-vaccine trucker protest. And even Sky News. COVID-19, anti-Semitism on the rise as anti-vaxxers blamed for helping to fuel hatred. The worst part about it was the average person bought this narrative hook, line, and sinker. The people who felt freedom over one's body and health choices should remain with the individual were in the minority. And most people agreed anti-mandate or anti-vaxxers, as they called them, were unfit for civil society. And worse, they were murderers. They were the lowest of the low and extremely, extremely dangerous. People resisting vaccine mandates were vilified and demonized for 2 to 3 years for simply not wanting basic human rights violated. Jobs were threatened, friendships were ruined, and reputations were smeared by people who fiercely believed the idea of medical freedom was deeply wrong and very dangerous. The evidence was overwhelming that the vaccine didn't stop the spread, but no matter how much evidence was showcased over and over, it was met with willful ignorance. The emotions from the pro-mandate group were simply too overpowering for them to recognize that they were deeply infringing on human rights and the value of freedom. They pointed to instance after instance of anti-vaxxers killing people or causing harm to society. They showed numerous cases of people who died from COVID because people selfishly wouldn't stop the pandemic. They couldn't see how their own messaging and fear was playing right into the hands of the establishment who wanted to implement more security measures and surveillance tactics and loss of freedoms. They couldn't see how their message only served to make Big Pharma wealthier with zero difference in the overall outcome. In the end, we're back to square one without these mandates having made a single shred of difference. Now we have heavier surveillance, more people considered terrorists, and a wealthier pharmaceutical industry. The exact same thing is happening now to people demonstrating on behalf of the Palestinian people. They are desperately trying to stop a disproportionate reaction from Israel over the October 7th Hamas attacks. Yet they are instead being smeared as being pro-Hamas, anti-Semitic, or indulging in some sort of woke movement. The evidence is overwhelming that Palestinians have been living under hostile, inhumane, and cruel conditions from either a blockade in Gaza or an occupation in the West Bank. Videos, photos, eyewitness, and death toll numbers have verified that these people are being ruled by Israel's iron fist with no mercy and no end in sight. And when an Israeli is attacked by someone hostile from this group of oppressed people, Israel's military unleashes not justice, but revenge, much of which is on children. When people protest these actions, they're met with the same smears as those in the anti-mandate crowd. They're called Nazis, white supremacists, anti-Semites, and terrorist sympathizers. Some are even claiming everyone protesting is a Muslim immigrant taking over the country, even though, like as in this protest in London, the vast majority of the people were white and British born. People are even losing their jobs for speaking up for the Palestinians. Michael Eisen was replaced as the editor-in-chief of eLife for retweeting an Onion piece that calls out indifference to the lives of Palestinian civilians. This woman says she lost out on her literal dream job. She says after 6 interviews and countless talks and meetings, she was told she didn't get the job because of her pro-Palestine political opinions. This Irish woman, Courtney Carey, got fired from her position as team leader at Wix for saying Israel is a terrorist state. The Daily Beast went after my former colleague, Brianna Joy Gray, for her views on Palestine. And of course, Katie Halper left the Hill after her Radar piece critical of Israel was pulled from being aired. Now, it's true that there are extremists inside of each movement. For example, some in the anti-mandate crowd felt the vaccine itself should be banned or felt the entire pandemic was fake. But most just wanted to not be forced into injecting something into their bodies or face severe consequences. The views were a spectrum, but the main view was to end the assault on freedom and liberty. Now, I understand there are radicals in the pro-Palestine camp, some of whom have a vile and hateful ideology. Some may be pro-Hamas and even anti-Semitic. But they are not representative of the majority, just like the extreme in any movement don't represent the masses. Most of the pro-Palestine demonstrations just want to see an end to the hostile assault on lives and dignity. They want peace and justice for everyone, be they Israeli, Jew, Christian, Palestinian, or Muslim. Like the pro-mandate movement, the smearing of these protesters won't result in anything profound except ruining more relationships, dividing us further, and costing people their livelihoods. The continued assault on Gaza and this new war on terror we seem to be barreling headfirst into will result in much worse conditions for us all. We'll see an increase in the surveillance state, more labeling people terrorists, largely for just their opinions. We'll have our American wealth depleted. We'll be isolated further from the world, which is tiring of our endless wars. Palestinians will grow angrier and more dangerous, and Israelis won't be an ounce safer. There is literally no benefit to going down this path. We tried it over the past 20 years with absolutely zero success. And if anything, we left countries destabilized and in worse condition. So like the pro-mandate crowd, which believed they were morally in the right, and just like those who marched us into the first war on terror beginning in Iraq, the end result was nothing but shame and hopefully regret. And those who stand for further crushing an already crushed people, quite literally crushed under heavy cement, they too will hang their heads in shame. Let's not let this happen again. Genucell, if you think your face enjoyed the summer as much as you did. I know I always end up with more dark spots and damage than before the season began, but you know what? I had fun, and there's always Genucell. So Genucell is an amazing skincare line formulated by a pharmacist who started off just making this cream for locals until it blew up in popularity. And now you can have that same luxury skincare, and it's for both men and women, because I know guys, you do care about your skin too. I know you try to hide it, but you do. Their new Fall Classics package has everything you need to get your skin back in shape, including their new Genucell 3 cream. And it starts by treating fine lines, wrinkles, under-eye bags, firmer jawline, and gives you a brighter complexion and younger, hydrated, healthier-looking skin. So take advantage of the new Genucell introductory Fall Classics package, which now includes the deep firming serum, plus the classic anti-wrinkle treatment and puffiness treatment, all for about 70% off. And Genucell also has this really amazing guarantee. You're going to see results day one or your money back. So take advantage of the Genucell packages. Just go to the website, genucell.com/Kim. And for all at about 70% off, you can try the best skincare in the world for yourself, completely risk-free. Again, genucell.com/Kim. Start looking years younger. And genucell.com/Kim is the website. That link is also down below.